Many thanks for joining us. This is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. Let's begin the bulletin from here. The Office of the President has received a cumulative of 10 petitions seeking the removal of Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, John MENSA, and her two deputies, Dr. Eric Bosman Asari and Samuel Tete. According to 3FM sources, 7 of the petitions were filed by private citizens for the removal of the EC chair and her deputies. The remaining 3 are seeking the removal of Special Prosecutor KISSI Agyemang, alleging various misconduct by the heads of the 2 institutions. President MAHAMA has, in accordance with Article 146 of the Constitution, forwarded the petitions by the private citizens to Chief Justice Paul Bafo-Boni for the determination of prima facie against a public official. So stay with us on 3FM 92.7. We'll bring you the latest and details of this even as the case progresses. Let's do other stories now. The West African Examination Council, WASSCE, says it is investigating the significant dip in performance across several core subjects in the 2025 WASSCE. A total of 4,661,736 candidates from 1,021 schools registered for the examination, representing a slight 0.2% increase over the 2024 entry figure. However, the 2025 performance trends revealed alarming declines in the core subjects. WASSCE statistics show that more than half of the candidates failed core mathematics, making it the weakest performance recorded in 7 years. The results also reveal that 1 in every 3 candidates scored an F9 in social studies, the highest failure rate among all 4 core subjects. Director of Communications for WASSCE, John Kapi, says while they suspect a lack of understanding of the questions contributed to the poor performance, they are investigating the underlying cause.
Look at the statistics that we so far, for the published results, the lowest performance will be in core mathematics. The best performance for this particular year has been English language. Well, if you look at social studies, obviously there's been a steep drop in terms of performance by candidates. We are still putting together the chief examiner's report. I called for it this morning, but it's not got to me yet. And in a casual conversation with my people in charge of social studies, I gathered that there was a little twist, if you want, of the question. Instead of the rote learning that we are used to, he asked them to apply the knowledge that they had in the various subjects. So, I mean, in that particular subject, the various topics. So it's not as if they drifted off the syllabus, neither did they put aside the test blueprint. And then looking at the questions and asking them to apply the knowledge, that is probably where he thinks the problem is coming from. A lot of them, he believes, were unable to apply the knowledge. So, and that explains the poor performance, especially in social studies.
He also attributes the decline in examination malpractice this year to increased efforts to protect the integrity of the examination.
Yes, certainly, because, you know, as WASSCE staff, the entire staff of Ghana in Accra and all the regions, we cannot take care of even one region for the examinations. Certainly, we need other people to come on board. And then this year also, I think that there are a few citizens, a few whistleblowers as well. That helped us a lot because received several calls from people about us to cheat. When we sent our personnel, they actually whatever was exactly what we found out. And so that explains the number of areas where we're able to curb the high rate of examination malpractice, and then also the reason we have a lot of scripts that we are still scrutinizing. But at times you arrive there and they're already done, but then there are traces of assistance they receive from outside. So because of that, we are withholding and then we are scrutinizing to ensure that we are not awarding grades to people who do not deserve them.
Meanwhile, for education think tank Africa EduWatch, the decline in performance is partly due to students doing more individual work. Executive Director of EduWatch, Kofi Asare, is calling for government intervention to support the schools.
Kofi Asare, who previously was relying on APO or relying on ANZE's, collusion to pass, may now struggle, and his results will not be the same because he didn't prepare well. So you would expect that some level of impact will happen on the general malpractice data, and then secondly on the results. Third is the policy regime. Look, we've been monitoring WASSCE since 2019. For the first time, the Ministry of Education, the minister pronounced that any teacher found participating in examination malpractice will be outrightly dismissed. That has never happened. Because even in the GNS's own code of conduct, if you are found participating in examination malpractice, you are, first of all, suspended. Dismissal is the last resort. And so for most first-time offenders, they are not dismissed outrightly. And so all this, and then the GNS also asked headmasters to sign an undertaking. The undertaking ensured that headmasters are held responsible for whatever malpractice happens in their school. So if you put all these three exogenous factors together, okay, vis-a-vis the possibly poor preparation towards examination, and then us waiting for the examination results to see where the gaps were, you will realize that it's a full bouquet of issues that could have or may have contributed.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Education Service, GS, says that 2025 WASSCE results are a true reflection of the academic performance of candidates and represent a credible assessment of student abilities. In the press release, the GS refuted claims by immediate past Minister for Education, Dr. Yaosei Duchum, who attributed the poor performance of students to what he described as unsupportive management practices at the GES. The GES is urging the public to disregard the former minister's comments, describing them as an attempt to shift focus from his shortcomings in managing the examination process. Let's bring in the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition, GNECC, and speak with Festus Lomate. He is head of programs. Mr. Lomate, thank you for joining us. Let's begin here. In your estimation, what do you think may have accounted for this year's poor performance?
Yeah, so good afternoon to you and your team. And let me thank you for giving us the opportunity to express our views on the current issues going on in our educational system.
Right.
Now, so clearly, the downtrend in our examination results, especially in subjects like mathematics and social studies, which are very key to at least transitioning from the secondary school level to the next level in the academic career, indicates that ongoing gaps in the quality of teaching and learning resources in the education sector. In fact, as a coalition, we have been advocating for targeted investment in both teacher training and educational infrastructure. Yet, it is very clear that we are still faced with issues of large classroom sizes. We have inadequate learning materials and insufficient academic support systems, and these are contributing to the current trend that we are all observing in the education sector. It is unfortunate that some of these things are happening because these are concerns that have been raised over the years. When you look at what's happening now, you realize that we're looking at it from all angles. Some of our schools these days are interested in preparing the children only to go and write exams and not to prepare them to take up the challenges of life. You know, if the child is prepared holistically and that child goes to the exam hall and then goes to meet a question, that is when the child is able to, or the student is able to apply what they have learned practically in the exam hall.
Right.
But unfortunately, our schools are interested, our teachers are interested in just preparing the children to go and then write exams and pass. That is where the challenge comes in, because students end up learning examination questions instead of learning the courses that they are supposed to or they are engaged in reading. They prefer to rather learn examination questions. So when they go to the exam halls and they don't go there to meet the kind of questions that they have learned, then automatically it becomes an issue. So these are some of the things that lead us to issues of this nature.
Let's talk solutions let's look at it from two angles, the civil society angle and then from the government perspective. What should CSOs do in this, just like your coalition, in the situation we find ourselves? And then we can look at what government as well as the education agencies can also do.
Yeah, for us as CSOs, what we can do is to come together to, bring all stakeholders in the education sector together to brainstorm and find lasting solutions to some of these issues. NEC, for instance, will be organizing a CSO independent assessment of the education sector for the past 1 year on the 9th of December. And it's going to be an opportunity to invite some of the your media house and other media houses to be part of this discourse, so that collectively, as CSOs, we are able to come out with some lasting solutions that will be proposed to government for adoption and implementation, which we believe would, to some extent, help in resolving some of these challenges that we are having with our examination activities. And
from the government perspective, what should government do?
Yeah, from the government perspective, clearly, government has the responsibility. Education is a public good, and education must not be commercialized. But these days, you realize that education has become so expensive to the extent that it is only those who have money that are able to afford education in this country in recent times. And it is because the system is almost failing us. The system is not providing the adequate resources that are required for effective teaching and learning to happen in the classroom. So for us as CSOs, we would call on government to ensure that, first of all, there is adequate resource allocation to the education sector to ensure that teaching and learning happens effectively.
Okay.
One of those is to ensure that we have adequate infrastructure to accommodate the large class sizes.
Thank you.
There is the need to also ensure that we give teachers all the teaching resources that they require to be able to teach and teach very well.
Okay.
And it is also very important that we also we don't leave even the student themselves out of this matter.
Right.
Because this is an issue concerning the student.
Thank you, Mr. Lomate.
If government has the responsibility to provide them with education and they are given education, they have that responsibility to also ensure that they do what is supposed to do. They do what they are supposed to do to be able to go through the system and go through the system very well.
Thank you for talking to us. Festus Lomate is Programs Director for the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition. We are having that conversation about the significant dip in the performance of WASSCE this year. Let's just stay on education, because the National Executive Council of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CETAG, has voted to continue with its industrial action. CETAG began an indefinite strike last Monday to protest the government's failure to fully implement the National Labour Commission's Arbitral Award. On Tuesday, the Education Minister Haruna Idris, together with other stakeholders, met the striking tutors to press them to call off the action. However, at the National Executive Council meeting, the members voted unanimously to continue with the strike. Max Bunu is president of CETAG. He's joined us on the line. Mr. Bunu, thank you for joining us. Your council has already signaled that the government's previous efforts were insufficient. What are CETAG's immediate steps following this vote?
Thank you, my sister, and good afternoon to your listeners. As you have rightly said in your intro, the National Executive Council, in consultation with our council again, met on 28th of last month. That was just the last Friday, and considered all the issues that the ministers plea. Unfortunately, Council is of the view that in the past we have received similar pleas and listened to the government, and they have disappointed us. And then SITA will suspend the strike and come back again on strike, that it is becoming one too many, that this should be our last strike on this arbitral award. And therefore, Council unanimously voted that the strike should continue until all the issues are resolved.
So, if the government fails to produce a satisfactory and time-bound implementation plan following the Council's reaffirmed position, what is the long-term strategy, or what we say Plan B for SITAG? Is the association considering escalating the industrial action, or maybe perhaps through a legal challenge?
Well, the union will continue to remain on strike. And when it comes to the legal component, it is the National Labour Commission that has that responsibility of enforcing its own ruling. Let us not forget that the Commission gave ruling on 2nd May 2023. I think by now the Commission should be troubled. The Commission should be worried that the ruling that the agents had given on 2nd May 2023, and now we are in 2025, almost getting into 2026, has not been complied with the government. We cannot have a situation where the Commission will leave the debtor and be following the creditor. It doesn't make any conceptual sense. So we are pleading with the National Labour Commission, the respected council there, to go into their own books and enforce the law. When the government fails to implement an arbitral award, it is their responsibility to enforce it. And we are encouraging them, that we are supporting them. They should make sure that they enforce the law for the government to comply with arbitral award. That is all that we are saying.
Okay. Mr. Bunu, thank you for talking to us. Maxwell Bunu is the national president
Thank
of
you for the
SITAG.
opportunity.
This is the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. We are back with more stories after this break. Stay with us.
This December, give your kids what they really want. Your time, your full attention. Cerelac in partnership with 3FM presents Family Fun Day. #FamiLac 2025. A full-day adventure packed with games, family competitions, live performances. Happening Friday, 5th December at Good Park from 9 a.m. To register your family for free, dial *928*12*11#. For vendor bookings or inquiries, call or WhatsApp us on 053-11-00927 or 053-220-0927. Family Fun Day, powered by Cerelac and brought to you by 3FM. This December, give your kids what they really want. Your time, your full attention. Cerelac in partnership with 3FM presents Family Fun Day. #FamiLac 2025. A full-day adventure packed with games, family competitions.
3FM.
Region, because the ASANTEHENE 2 the second-led mediation committee will deliver its verdict in the long-running BAWKU chieftaincy mediation this afternoon. President John Mahama tasked the Asante monarch to lead efforts in resolving the age-old conflict. Although discussions were temporarily suspended, they resumed on May 13, during which the talks contributed to a period of relative calm in the area. For years, the BAWKU municipality has endured recurring violence and heightened tension, with sporadic attacks resulting in the loss of lives and the imposition of curfews aimed at curbing unrest. The situation has disrupted livelihoods, strained community relations, and drawn national concern over the urgent need for a lasting peace settlement. Let's now cross over to the MANHYIA Palace in the Ashanti region, where the final day of BAWKU peace conflict resolution is underway. My colleague, our Northern Region Bureau, William Evans Income, is there. Evans, talk to us. What is happening now at MANHYIA?
Well, so the parties have arrived. The first to arrive was the Kusasi Gate. They came with a number of their elders. 30 minutes after the Mampusi gate also arrived, they also came with a number of their elders. Of course, we also understand But the other political figures who are also here, for instance, the Garu and Binduri, and that of BAWKU MC, Garu and Binduri DCs, they are all here. And of course, we also have some former members of parliament from Garu and BAWKU. And of course, we also have other high-profile dignitaries who have also arrived with the team. So as I speak to you now, they both entered the ASANTEHENE's Jubilee Hall. We were not allowed an entry. We are outside, but the meeting is currently ongoing.
Right, Evans, from the videos you have sent us, we see a number of police personnel in and around MENSA. Talk to us about the security arrangement. Why has this become so? Is this the usual scene at MENSA?
So it has been the usual ever since the mediation process started. But now we are seeing an increase of numbers as far as deployment here is concerned. So, for instance, the police have quite a colossal number of their personnel here, led by the deputy police commander, who is also here with his lieutenants. And of course, we also have the army, also led by some of their commanders. They are also here, and now a good number of them. If you enter the precinct of the Jubilee Hall, you also see a colossal number of heavily armed police, military presence there. I mean, some also have their face covered. I'm talking about the military, especially those who escorted the parties into the Jubilee Hall of the MENSA Palace, heavily armed with their faces also covered. So in terms of security, I can tell you that it is heightened.
Evans, thank you. We'll definitely come back to you for more on this, even as the ASANTEHENE presents the verdict to the two parties. This is the Media News on 3FM 92.7. Let's go back to that earlier story about the petition presented to the president for the removal of the EC chair, her deputies, as well as the special prosecutor. Legal practitioner Martin Pebu is on the line. Counsel, talk to us briefly. The president says he has received close to 10 petitions on these two public agencies. We know you've already led a campaign, you and another pastor, a campaign for the removal of the SP, and now there is this. How do you want to see all of this fashion out eventually?
Yeah, so I wish to see that this will proceed, and then I will be adding mine to come Wednesday, my own petition for KISSI Agyebeng's removal. And under the law, all of these petitions, the president has to make a determination whether there's a prima facie case. And if there is, so I said that not the president, the Chief Justice. So these petitions have been forwarded to the Chief Justice, and the Chief Justice has 30 days to make a determination whether there is a prima facie. When we say prima facie, simply meaning whether the petitions appear serious. If the allegations appear to be serious, they are not just some frivolous ones, that's unserious ones, right? So if they appear serious and credible a bit, then the Chief Justice would now go ahead and have the committee set up so that the committee will go into the merits of the case. And the committee has to come out with its work within 3 months, 90 days.
Right.
So that's how it's supposed to pan out. The president has to forward it 7 days. When it gets to the Chief Justice, he has 30 days. When at the end of the 30 days, it shows that the prima facie it is positive, that the trial itself should go on, then the Chief Justice has 14 days to set up the committee, and then the committee will now do its work for 3 months, 90 days, and finish. Then we'll know where the chips will fall.
Right,
yes.
Counsel.
So that's the right thing to happen.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of bad things that KISSI Agyebeng has done. He's hurt us big time. How can the special prosecutor sit down and allow Oforiatta to flee from Ghana, and the special prosecutor expects to keep the office?
Counsel, you say you are presenting a petition. How soon should we look forward to this? Briefly for me.
Yes, Wednesday latest.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for talking to us, Counsel. We'll definitely follow up on your petition and how it also pans out. That was Legal Practitioner Martin Pebu talking to us about the petition the President has received in relation to the removal of the Special Prosecutor as well as the EC Chair and her deputies. Let me take you up north because the Nanton Constituency Executive Committee of the National Democratic Congress has called for the immediate removal of the District Chief Executive for Nanton, Abdul Rahman Rosina Zainabu, over what they describe as a gross mismanagement of the affairs of the Assembly. They also want a thorough investigation into some allegations of sale of government land in the district and diversion of some 600 bags of fertilizer intended for farmers. Let's go to Nanton now. Christopher, why this call for removal of the DC by the Executive Committee?
Is that we are here public...
For the Executive Committee of the Nanton district, they are accusing the District Chief Executive for some issues of mismanagement and misappropriation. They are alleging, first of all, that the District Chief Executive has diverted some 600 out of 2,000 bags of fertilizer that was allocated and given to the district for onward distribution to some farmers in the district, to some retailers for them to sell and give her the money. They are also alleging that the DC is engaged in sale of government lands. They also indicate that she's caused some level of disaffection and disunity within the party front. She's not in talking terms with the Member of Parliament for the Nanton constituency, Dr. Mohammed Sharif, and also party executives, and also indicated that she has awarded a contract of some 82,000 Ghana cedis for the renovation of the Nanton District Assembly, which for them is very worrying. Let's take a listen to what they have actually been telling us.
We are here publicly to express our grave concerns regarding the conduct and actions of the District Chief Executive for Nanton, Honorable Abdurrahman Rosina Zainabu, whose stewardship, in our respectful view, poses a direct threat to the cohesion, progress, and electoral prospects of the NDC in this constituency. The government interventions, such as Savannah Agricultural Value Chain Development Project, SADEP, are meant to support farmers and reduce poverty. However, we have credible reports that about 600 bags of subsidized fertilizer allocated to the district were diverted and sold to private retailers under the direction of the DCE.
You heard some executives of the Nanton NDC. Earlier, my colleague Christopher Makon talking to us about that call for the removal of the DCE. Before we go, the minority in Parliament has petitioned the Speaker to withdraw the referral of leader Alexander Agyemang to the Privileges Committee after he attended an ECOWAS Parliament meeting without being a member of the official delegation from Ghana. In November, the Majority Leader MAHAMA filed a motion against a Futu legislator alleging serious breaches of parliamentary privileges and demanded sanctions against him. But the Minority Caucus is fighting back Speaker's directive. The Deputy Minority Leader Patricia Piejay, who was replaced Agyemang on the delegation, has rejected her inclusion, asking the Speaker to reverse the referral of Afenyo to the Privileges Committee. She's requesting a new delegation list that includes him.
We in the minority, we are here and we demand the following. One, the immediate withdrawal of the Privileges Committee's petition. It is gross abuse of process and an affront to justice. A public apology from the Speaker and Majority Leader, to ECOWAS and to the people of Ghana for the international embarrassment they caused. 3, the passage of a resolution restoring Honorable Agyemang's name to Ghana's ECOWAS delegation and affirming Ghana's commitment to the rule of law.
Deputy Minority Leader Patricia PJ ending the news on 3FM 92.7. It came to you live from our studios here at Adisawe Kanda, Accra. My name is Grace Hammoah Agyemang. Bismarck Ewusa is standing by to bring us the latest in the world of business. Good afternoon.
Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3FM.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, Ghana's cocoa sector faces crisis amid aging trees, soil decline and virus-threatened yields. We'll bring you details. Also ahead, Energy Ministry reaffirms government commitment to reverse declining energy sector investments, push renewables and strengthen petroleum upstream sector. We'll hear from Deputy Minister Richard John MENSA.
And with your collaboration, we are going to reverse the declining investments and development in our petroleum upstream sector.
Plus, government shatters treasury bill target, raising 5.782 billion cedis over a lower target of 2.862 billion cedis. I am Bismarck Ewusa. I will bring you details of our headlines and other stories shortly. Please stay. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. A study warns that aging cocoa trees, declining soil fertility, and the rapid spread of the cocoa swollen shoot virus disease are reducing yields and putting the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of farmers at risk. Researchers say the disease alone is cutting output by as much as 200 kilograms per hectare in some communities.
The study warns that aging cocoa trees, declining soil fertility, and the rapid spread of the cocoa swollen shoot virus disease are reducing yields and putting the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of farmers at risk. Researchers say the disease alone is cutting output by as much as 200 kilograms per hectare in some communities.
We also have conducted some activities in link to the certification. So I'm sure that you know about the fair trade certification, the organic certification. And we have found that in Ghana, they really contribute to improve the profit for the farmers as well.
Farmers participating in the dialogue called for higher farm gate prices, better access to inputs, and tougher action against illegal mining, which continues to destroy farmlands.
If you increase the cocoa price, then that's providing them an incentive to engage more into cocoa and to invest to provide some solutions to cocoa swollen shoot, for instance. So that's real incentive for the world cocoa economy.
The Cocoa for Future team is urging Cocoa Board and the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to intensify rehabilitation programs, provide disease-resistant planting materials, and expand long-term monitoring systems to guide policy. With Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire supplying more than 60% of the world's cocoa, researchers warn that without coordinated action, the future sustainability of the sector is at risk.
You heard a report by my colleague Michael Obodu on Ghana's cocoa sector facing crisis amid aging trees, soil decline, and virus-threatened yields. Moving on, Deputy Minister for Energy Richard John MENSA has reaffirmed government's strong resolve to revive investment confidence across Ghana's energy sector and restore growth, especially in the petroleum upstream sector. Addressing the 9th Ghana Energy Awards in Accra on the theme repositioning the energy sector as a pillar of national development, he stressed that under the strategic leadership of President John Dramani Mahama, the ministry is implementing reforms to attract capital, expand renewable energy contributions, and ensure that reliable power continues to drive industries, households, and national development.
Over the past month, the ministry, with the tacit support of His Excellency the President John Dramani Mahama, has worked diligently to stabilize and reposition the energy sector as a true driver of national development. Through strategic reforms and deliberate policy direction, we have begun to reverse long-standing challenges and restore confidence across the energy value chain. The results are evident in the improvements recorded in the power generation, distribution efficiency, petroleum sector investments, and expansion of renewable energy initiative. We have a responsibility to keep the lights on to power our industry and light up our homes and our path. We have a responsibility, and we assure you that with our efforts and with your collaboration, we are going to reverse the declining investments and development in our petroleum upstream sector. We're also giving you the strongest assurance that we are going to pursue our aim of increasing the contribution of renewable energy in our national energy generation mix.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Minister for Energy, Richard John MENSA, has also assured that government's ongoing efforts to stabilize the energy sector will ensure Ghana does not slip back into the days of doomsday. He said the reforms being undertaken from power generation to distribution efficiency are designed to guarantee consistent and reliable electricity supply to support both households and industry.
We are taking all the necessary reforms to strengthen and modernize our energy sector. The ministry will continue on count on everyone who is here. We want your unwavering support and partnership. The task ahead is significant, and no single individual can deliver it alone. Ghana will not go back to the days of doomsday or the days when Ghanaians have to queue to get fuel. With the measures we have put in place, with the support of the President, with all stakeholder players, we are sure we are going to get there. I want to emphasize that the ministry operates an open door policy. We welcome your ideas, your suggestions, and even constructive criticisms. This sector belongs to all of us, and its progress depends on our collective commitment and collaboration. Let us continue to work together to build an energy sector that is resilient, competitive, and capable of powering Ghana's long development.
Richard John MENSA is the Deputy Minister for Energy. This is still Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. I'll start some other story now. Government significantly exceeded its target for the Treasury Bill auction held on November 28, 2025, raising a excess of 5.782 billion cedis amid a lower target following 6 consecutive weeks of undersubscription. There is more in the following 3 Business News Desk report.
Government had initially aimed to raise 2.862 billion cedis in the auction, a move interpreted as cautious given the recent market performance. However, investor appetite proved much stronger, with total bids amounting to 6.034 billion cedis across the 3 tenors of 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day bills. Government accepted 5.782 billion cedis, successfully purchasing more than double its target, although accepting less than the amount offered by investors. For the 91-day bill, the total amount of bids received by government was 2.574 billion cedis, while government accepted 2.569 billion cedis, issued at a yield of 11.05%. The 182-day bill attracted total offers amounting to 1.648 billion cedis, with government accepting 1.629 billion cedis at an interest rate of 12.43%. For the 364-day bill, investors submitted bids totaling 1.811 billion cedis, while government accepted 1.583 billion cedis of these offers at a yield of 13.08%. The strong demand for the 91-day bill, in particular, was notable, with government accepting almost the entire bid amount at a yield of 11.05%. The successful outing has encouraged government to revert to a higher target for the upcoming auction. Government is set to seek 5.805 billion cedis on Friday, December 5, 2025, indicating renewed confidence in the market's liquidity and investor interest in short-term government debt.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report on government shattering Treasury Bill target, raising 5.782 billion cedis over a lower target of 2.862 billion cedis. And that brings us to the end of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. Also, for more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Thanks for your company.